Don't say that those who be enrolled will get some tariff reduction and all that. Then take that out. Because then that would also mean another form of conjecture. You are now telling us that, listen, you are now telling this country that there is somebody who is now seeing to the modeling of this 24-hour economy policy. That's what you are telling us. And that you don't want to commit yourself. Meanwhile, you are telling us that the 24-hour economy, those companies who would enroll on it, will get benefit in terms of electricity tariffs, and if they do at night. Honorable Ampem,
Mr. Chairman, that is...
Can I finish with respect? There's a difference between a campaign talk when you're on the rally, say 24-hour economy, you know, saying that people will be weeding at night, going to their farm in the night. This is Parliament. Please, don't try. Don't try. Is the policy now being enacted? Tell me so that I end here. Tell me.
Mr. Chairman, I said that the policy is in the process, but I also mentioned that envisages that there will be some benefits to those who enroll in it, and the benefits includes reduction, time of use.
Ghana for being humusu by papa. What the interest?
The policy. That is the next language I'm going to use.
Why have you decided to keep it late? Why are you not treating it as priority?
Mr. Chairman, I'm treating my language acquisition is not that sharp, but small, I'll get there.
Okay, so on your CV, education, professional qualification, have you done your national service? Did you do national service?
Mr. Chairman, I didn't do national service.
You do national service? Yes, no.
No.
Have you paid your taxes?
Yes,
up to
Mr.
31st December 2024?
Yes, I have.
You have a copy with you?
I presented a copy to the Secretariat.
Is Parliament work your parliamentary employment? Is that the only employment you have?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Would you be surprised to hear that you do some other business apart from Parliament? Because you are telling us that you don't do any other work apart from Parliament.
Mr. Chairman, I'm a full-time parliamentarian.
Do you have any registered company in your name?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Proud to you becoming a member of Parliament, did you register any company?
Mr. Chairman, I think I registered a company with a friend some many years ago, but we never did any business.
But it's a company you registered. Would you be surprised to hear that your friend is actively working with this company, though you are a director?
That is not possible.
What's the name of the company?
In fact, I don't even remember, Mr. Chairman.
Let's go through your party's manifesto on this women banking.
Unfortunately, I don't have a copy.
No, I will take the leave of chair and to allow you to come with your manifesto. It's very critical. You are speaking to women's banking, and you said Professor Nana and the President are passionate about it. Let's speak to it.
Just a sec. Just a sec. I said earlier, I believe we were here. I think now that I know not only you personally, but your team's infatuation with the NDC manifesto and our 24-hour economy, we will begin to arm ourselves with our manifesto. But as I said earlier, the manifesto is not a driving license that we carry around. So I would not expect the nominee, if he hasn't got his manifesto here, because it is not a requirement anywhere, that he should arm himself with it. So if he hasn't got it here, then unless you want to engage him with what you have read in our manifesto, which I know is a lot.
Chairman, when you rule on the matter, our duty is to yield in obedience. I will accordingly yield. I thought that since this is a major policy of the government and is contained in the enacted manifesto, it could help. It will help if we go specific into it. But that said, I'll proceed. So this women banking, let me ask you. Have you read it in your manifesto? You. Have you read it? Yes, no. Have you read it?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I read it.
You did? What did it say?
I don't remember.
Okay. So you are here parroting policy. You say the government is passionate about, yet you don't remember what the women's banking entails. You don't.
Mr. Chairman, I said I don't remember because I do not want to be asked to quote certain things that I cannot get right. But like I said, I know that it was one of our main campaign policies that will establish a bank dedicated to support women because women have peculiar challenges and that treating them and men alike as the traditional banks do does not give them the needed attention and support that they deserve.
So how is this women banking going to be established? We need to know the infrastructure. How is it going to operate? Tell us how it's going to operate.
Mr. Chairman, those are the details that I said, that once you are kind enough to get me to the ministry, I will work with my minister and get you the fine details, and I will share that with you once I have it.
No, but you agree with me that your manifesto is supposed to be the blueprint upon which your mandate was given you, your mandate to govern.
That is correct.
And you also agree with me that having spoken extensively about it, your suggestion is that you have read and you understand what the women banking is.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So are you going to open branches all over the country?
I hope so, but everything I say on this will not be official. That is what I hope, that we open a number of branches.
Leader, can I come in again? The nominee here is a nominee designated to be a deputy minister of a substantive minister. He's not a policy maker. He follows the policy directed by his minister. So if he doesn't know such a policy detailed question you are asking him, I personally wouldn't expect him to know if he says he doesn't know.
Chairman, we leave it to the jury out there. Now, unemployment continues to be a national canker, which you are aware. what's your own view about employees Ghanaians receiving employment insurance benefits, especially those who are unemployed?
Mr. Chairman, that would be a wonderful scheme, but it depends on if our economy will be able to support it. I doubt if we will be able to support it in our current economic situation, but once things pick up, I don't think it is something that we cannot do. It is done in other countries, and it won't be out of place for us to experiment it. But I recall that something like that was launched some years back under the Ghana Cares or Batampa program, National Unemployment Insurance Program or something of the sort by the previous administration. I'm not too sure where, the extent to which it was implemented, but it is something that when I go to the ministry, I would work with my minister to look at, and once the economy can support it, we can look at it.
In your manifesto, you promised to stabilize the national currency. You are aware of that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
As a deputy minister, what would be your advice on the approach to achieve this?
Mr. Chairman, price stability is one of the main functions of the central bank. The Minister for Finance has stated, and I even said earlier on this platform, that he has indicated that he would use fiscal policy to assist the monetary authority to achieve some of these things, and I would support him in that direction in the areas that he would determine.
We hear of broadening tax base and all that. Same as found expression in your manifesto. First of all, are you aware of that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
If so, how does your government intend to implement this, broadening the tax base? What's your own understanding of the approach to be used in broadening the tax base?
Mr. Chairman, we believe that in a difficult time like this, the approach to rake in more revenue will include broadening the tax base, because any attempt to increase tax rates will be burdening the few people who are paying the tax anyway. And so we must aggressively pursue a program that will rope in more people into the tax net and broaden the base in order to rake in more revenue.
So let me ask you about tax incentives. The 1D1F policy was aimed at helping the private sector to be more productive, to be more efficient, and also produce at a cheaper cost in terms of the raw material and the machinery imports. Your party opposed this, correct?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, no. Your party opposed this, correct?
My party supported tax exemptions, but it got to a point that we thought we should pull the brakes.
So in principle, you are not against the 1D, 1F.
Mr. Chairman, no, we are not against 1D, 1F, but we realized that the rate at which tax exemptions were being given out was alarming, and also we did not feel that there was a fair and scientific approach in selecting companies that would come under the 1D, 1F exemption regime. And so we did a lot of things together. I recall on the finance committee that leader himself and I were on, we had back and forth on these. On one occasion, the exemption request that was brought to us, when we rejected it, it went and came back with a drastic reduction in it. That in itself was a red flag to a lot of us. And I must say that the opposition to the 1D, 1F towards the end of the last parliament was not something that only our side stood against. There were some people on your side who agreed with us. So I thought that it was something.
Who on our side?
Something in the interest of Mother Ghana that we felt that we should object to this.
Okay, Honorable Nominee, let's stay there a bit, because you see, first, you say some people from government were against the tax exemption policy under the 1D, 1F. This is for public record. Tell us who were opposed to it. I want to know from you.
Mr. Chairman, I was referring to the Finance Committee deliberations. And that is what I'm saying, that on the committee, discussions that went on, we know that it wasn't like on party lines. We thought that we built consensus, and a lot of members on both sides agreed that some of the 1D, 1F exemption requests could not be granted.
Thank you very much, Chairman. On this very important issue of 1D, 1F, the decision of the committee, the then Finance Committee, was to take out the raw material components in the application, and we did so. That led to the reduction in the value, and Honorable Ampem participated, out of which we generated a signed report. It was its laying that was objected to by the minority at the time. All of us, we generated a report. We sat at Aliza Hotel for over a week and did what the House, as directed by the Speaker, requested us to do. So it's not as if some members on the majority side, there were some discordant voices before the directive. But after the directive, there wasn't any issue. The report was generated and signed, ready to be laid. And we worked so hard in reducing the figure from about $300 and something million to about $100 million, representing over 48 companies to create over 200,000 direct jobs. That is the work we did. Honorable Achampon was there. Honorable Ampem, they all participated. Honorable Adongo, they were all there. You can ask Honorable Atufosin. the minority leader was a member of the committee. We worked so hard on that. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that is what I want all of us to share. I mean, that glory is what I want all of us to share, that we work together to reduce the amount that we initially were called upon to give away in tax exemptions from the 340-something million that the immediate past chairman of the Finance Committee mentioned to about 100 million. That is a glory that I don't think minority should take. I think we all did this together. And honestly, Mr. Chairman, I feel that it is important that either Parliament or an institution conducts some analysis of the impact of tax waivers that we have been giving out to advise us as to whether the benefits is worth doing it and what modalities we should. I mean, it is something that I feel passionate about, that we need to have something to guide us as a house in granting some of these waivers. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, you see, certain submissions must be properly placed in context. If you say that upon scrutiny, the figures reduced, that cannot be correct. A decision was taken that the raw materials component should be taken off so that the exemption would be limited to machinery. It isn't the case that there was an abuse in the system or that the figures that were brought, somebody had inflated. You see, but the point I want to make here is this. We are a country that wants to support the private sector. And you and I agree there is a private sector that creates the employment, not the government. Therefore, any initiative aimed at helping the private sector to thrive must be supported. Now, your party, in principle, opposed the 1D1F policy. It is the reason why certain decisions were made by your side. I want to know from you whether, as part of your policies for the private sector, your government is going to introduce any tax exemption regime for the private sector.
Mr. Chairman, if my government would introduce any tax exemption regime, it should be done sparingly. I feel that the way the tax exemptions under 1D1F was given was too much. And like I said earlier on, I felt that it was important for some work to be done to ascertain whether we were getting value for it. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Chairman, you can come in.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I think it's important to correct some information put out by the minority leader. With this tax exemption, there was a particular company. When they submitted the request, it was around $256 million. Upon going through the document to raise the issues, they withdrew the application, came back, and it reduced to $142 million. This is the issue the nominee is talking about, not the later, when Honorable One became the chairperson, then we put all together, we'll tease out all the raw materials and the rest, that reduced from 300 to 100 and something million. Originally, when Kuku Kwatin was the chairperson of the committee, we did the work and reduced it from 256 million to 142 million. That was the issue the nominee is talking about. So the issue put up by the minority leader that we did not support tax exemption is entirely not the position of the minority. We supported the granting of tax exemption, but we got to a point, the numbers that were coming, we couldn't contain it any longer. That was why we took that position. So the Constitution is very clear on this matter. We cannot say we don't support granting of tax exemption, but we needed to put the brakes so that we can make some savings for Mother Ghana. So we still support 1D, 1F, and we support granting of tax exemption. But we need to do things at the right time. Thank you very much.
Peter.
Honorable nominee, before I ask my next question, Chairman, the respected colleague to my right has sought your leave to make a statement, not to even ask a question. I'm compelled to respond to him. The records of Parliament will reflect the views they express on the House floor through their minority leader. They said that they were not in support of the 1D, 1F and that they were opposed to it. It is the reason why they physically prevented even the laying of the report. The practice of Parliament is for the minority to express its view and for the report to be delayed, a vote taken. This was a situation where the NDC minority prevented even the laying of the report after there had been some concessions and some agreement that all parties had signed to the report. The words of the then minority chief whip were that if the report was laid, there would be chaos on the floor. As to what he meant by chaos, it is for him to determine. The speaker called us into conclave, had a discussion. They said they will not allow. If today, we, the 88 minority, we call ourselves the mighty few, should we say that we are opposed to your policy, yet will not allow you to use your majority to lay and take a vote, how would you feel? So he shouldn't go there. The 8th Parliament, a lot of things happen. You use, your might, brow, to have your way. We cannot even do that to you, a percentage of that which you did to us. So don't create the impression now that the NDC minority, as you were then, supported tax exemption. Hansard would expose the position you took on the matter. So don't let us go there and unduly delay this vetting process. Don't let us start the debate. You acted in bad faith. You said you were opposed to it. You frustrated government. Individual companies that had come, made presentations, you frustrated them. And you even said publicly for Hansard that because the elections were getting closer, these companies are companies that are affiliates of MPP and they were going to support us in our campaign. So don't say today that you are not against it. Rather, tell us that posterity is now dealing with you and you know that you bring exemptions for us to deal with on the House floor. That said, let me proceed.
Mr. Chairman, I think that we must put this on record too. The Honourable Minority Leader will testify that, and he knows, parliamentary record will show that we supported many 1D, 1F tax exemptions, and the reports were brought to the floor by consensus. So the position that we were against, it was just at the latter part.
That's my reference point, please. I say context in this exchange.
Okay,
Let's
so
look
in
at
that
context.
case, okay.
When I became the majority leader, the tax exemption applications that I came to meet, we met at Aliza, we agreed that the raw materials component be taken off. we were all added. Fortunately, members of the committee are still here. Jaja is here. You are here. He is here. Question is, after we had all agreed and done the report, you came to the House floor to tell us that you are opposed to it in spite of the agreement. Those companies are suffering. Now we are not in power. It's Ghanaians who have suffered, and these companies are still knocking at your doors. We know. And we know that you would want to bring them after your budget, bring these same applications for us to consider. Tell us that you've been caught by your own mischief and bad faith. So don't say generally you've always been in support of tax exemption. I'm referring to the last one. The last one. From February 2024 all the way till election. That you prevented Honorable Buama from laying the report. You said there will be chaos.
Leader, just to remind you, just to remind you, 1D, 1F is a methodology of a policy. The policy is to industrialize, and neither the MPP or the NDC is against industrialization. So it is not industrialization that we are against. There may be certain aspects of your methodology that were problematic, and that I will admit.
Chairman, I agree with you. I agree with you. What I'm saying is that as a government, we listen to the concerns of the minority. And the minority grounded its concerns on the huge numbers. And we came to a consensus to take away the raw materials components, and a report was made. Then you did a U-turn on the floor to threaten chaos and prevented the chair from laying the report. That is a fact. So on record, you had said you oppose to it. So let's end there. Now, Honorable Ampem, what is your view on this, your 24-hour economy? Explain to us your understanding of the 24-hour economy.
Again, before you come in, 24-hour economy is the methodology for industrialization.
I agree. Chair, I agree, respectfully. So explain to us the methodology for industrialization, which has been cliched by your party as 24-hour economy. Explain to us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my party is advocating that we run a 24-hour economy where certain category of jobs can be done round the clock. This will provide extended hours of work and will provide job opportunities for many people. And if you look at our manifesto, I know that we listed some public institutions that can immediately provide a 24-hour service, like the passport office. And recently,
those public institutions.
I've mentioned one, passport office, DVLA, and others. Recently, I heard the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa, stating that they are going to initiate processing of passport 24 hours. These are areas that we think that we can work 24 hours, employ additional hands to do the jobs. On this platform, the finance minister said we would also focus on the real sector. And so these are things that we intend to do. And as a deputy minister, I want to remind Minority Leader that as he rightly advised, I am a deputy minister nominee. And so if he is kind enough to release me and I go through the process, I will go and assist my minister in the direction that you said. Thank you.
Now, so what is the real sector of the economy? If you say your minister said you are going to focus on the real sector, what do you mean by that?
We are talking about the productive sectors. We are talking about road construction. I don't see why we cannot do road construction in the night as we see in other countries. If we are surfacing the 37 to Medina Road, looking at the traffic there, why can't we work even in the night when traffic is less? And so there are a lot of things that we believe that we can do around the clock.
So, do you have any idea of the cost to government in this? Because all these are private sector engineered. Are you going to provide some incentives to the private sector to enable them achieve this?
Rightly so.
What are some of the incentives they should expect? The nation is listening to you. Tell the private sector what incentives they should expect in fulfillment of this 24-hour economy promise.
Mr. Chairman, one thing that we talked about was reduction in the use of power for certain times of the day. If you enroll in the 24-hour economy, off-peak period around midnight when everybody you can actually get incentive for enrolling in the 24-hour economy if you are working round the clock, and you get some reduction in the rate of power that you use because you have enrolled in the program. We also talked about enhancing security, that because the 24-hour economy will require that people work in the night, it will be important that we boost security so that those that will be minded to do it will feel safe and to do it.
Okay, so let me understand you. So what you are saying is that there will be a desk where company would have to register as 24-hour economy entities, correct?
Mr. Chairman, His Excellency President Mahama has named Mr. Guzitano as the one in charge of the 24-hour economy, and I know that he's working on the policy. In due course, he would share that with us. Anything I say may be a conjecture.
Don't say that those who be enrolled will get some tariff reduction and all that. Then take that out.
Mr.
Because
Chairman,
then that would also mean another form of conjecture. You are now telling us that, listen, you are now telling this country that there is somebody who is now seeing to the modeling of this 24-hour economy policy. That's what you are telling us. And that you don't want to commit yourself. Meanwhile, you are telling us that the 24-hour economy, those companies who would enroll on it, will get benefit in terms of electricity tariffs, and if they do at night. Honorable Ampem,
Mr. Chairman, that is...
Can I finish with respect? There's a difference between a campaign talk when you're on the rally, say 24-hour economy, you know, saying that people will be weeding at night, going to their farm in the night. This is Parliament. Please, don't try. Don't try. Is the policy now being enacted? Tell me so that I end here. Tell me.
Mr. Chairman, I said that the policy is in the process, but I also mentioned that yes, is in the pipeline. But I also mentioned that the policy envisages that there will be some benefits.
Which benefit?
To those who enroll in it, and the benefits includes reduction, time of use.
Ghana for being humusu by papa. What the interest?
Leader, I think you are actually jumping the gun.
Chairman.
There is a
We've
man.
had a peaceful day. Chairman.
Please, it will still continue to be peaceful. We have a manifesto and a policy. The manifesto eventually will feed into the policy. Somebody is out there that he had mentioned who is fashioning out these policies for us to get the details. In the manifesto, we did not say anything about we will give a tax exemption of this amount, or that will come in the policy and in the details.
So when you were what do you say was contained in your manifesto? Tell us. Chairman, you are not on oath, but you are explaining. Yes.
You're still engaging me. All right. The promises given in the manifesto does not come with numbers. The numbers will come in the policy, and they have to put it together. Yes, you will have a first visit with a budget, and you can then ask questions out of that. To ask the nominee, the deputy minister, about these details, first and foremost, is unfair, and he is not in the position to articulate what you are looking for, which is how much we are going to give in exemptions and all that. That is what it is. And he is not in a position to answer those questions. He wouldn't be. I would be surprised if he is. That's the point I was trying to make.
Chair, though you are not a lawyer, but you've just given a certain ventilation that you've led him into a stage where you are telling him that don't answer questions on 1D, 1F. Very well. Honorable Ampem, you know your party promised 60 ministerial appointment, correct?
Correct, Mr. Chairman.
Should we expect more technical advisors to the ministers and deputy ministers?
Mr. Chairman, I am sure that number of technical advisors that we will have will definitely be fewer than what.
Than what would
what
deal with your matter. And Honorable Ladi and Co should pay attention to your answers.
No, Mr.
I'm
Chairman.
asking you, should we expect more technical advisors, yes or no?
I hope not. Mr. Chairman, I am not in the position to answer this question. I am not the appointing authority.
Would you be required to take technical advisors?
I wouldn't know until I get to the ministry.
So when the need arises, would you take technical advisors?
Mr. Chairman, there are a lot of officers at the ministry that are supporting us. If there is a gap and there is a need to have a technical advisor to support, I will consult, and if that is allowed, why not?
Some people are saying that this government is a civil servant government. What do you say to that?
Mr. Chairman, I don't quite understand the question.
That this government is not a politician's government, it's a civil servant's government. What do you say to that?
If it is because we are reducing the number of ministers and that will rely on civil servants to bridge in the gap, then probably, but I don't think we should call it a civil servants government, because in any case, the reduction is about 24. So are you saying because we have reduced ministers from 84 to 60, the government has become a civil servant government? I don't quite understand the analogy.
Now, let me try and close up with this. You are aware that the president has only one term and not beyond, correct? You know that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And you know that very soon there will be internal competition as to who becomes a successor in your party, even as you're running a government.
That will be in all political parties.
We are talking about you. For now, I'm talking about NDC. Let's stay with you. You would agree with me that very soon there would be internal contest as to who succeeds President Mahama within your party for 2028 election, correct?
Mr. Chairman, as long as President Mahama will not contest in the next election, definitely there will be internal processes to select another flag bearer.
Now, in the process, how do you and Ato are going to be at the finance ministry to ensure fiscal discipline and all? Do you agree with me that in the process of internal politicking, it would likely put the government in disarray? And if you agree, how do you assure the nation that you would do what you can to ensure fiscal stability?
Mr. Chairman, I'm not too sure how the internal politics would affect our resolve to manage the finances of this country. But if there are any of those external issues, I'm sure we'll be able to navigate through.
You are a young man from Eastern region and above 40. If they approach you to contest, would you?
Mr. Chairman, to contest for what?
Flag bearer of your party.
Reverend said it is possible, but Mr. Chairman, I don't have any such intentions.
Clarify this for me. On your CV, you said you did personal banking job at Wells Fargo between 2008 and 2010 whilst you were in the US. Was this on part-time because you were also schooling? You stated that you were doing your master's between 2008 and 2010. You said you got to America in August 2008. And then you're also saying that you started as a personal banker at Wells Fargo in August 2008 to 2010. Can you clarify something there for us?
Mr. Chairman, I worked full-time. My graduate school programs were in the evenings, so I combined work with school.
Very well. Chairman, I think that will be all for the nominee.
Thank you very much, Leader. Honorable nominee,
Mr. Chairman.
I'm going to be wrapping up. First of all, I congratulate you.
Thank you, sir.
Mine will not be a question. I've just got two sets of advice for you going to work as a deputy minister. And the advice were out of two issues you raised. One of them is